chess friends, how are you? Hope you are good. And today I played with Magnus Carlsen without queen. You chose this game idea for me, which is why I sacrificed my queen against him to lose the game. Don't wait for the perfect time, take the present moment and make it perfect. So let's go. I started the game with e4, we have e5, here I played queen to f3 as my subscribers wish, to sacrifice the queen on f6. Before sacrificing the queen, let me show you some Russian lines. You can play queen to h5 to target the pawn. Here different elo player plays different types of moves. We will cover all these moves one by one, so if 300 elo player plays knight to f6 to target the queen, then you can pick up the pawn with a check. So in this position, a smart chess player will play knight to c6, try to protect the pawn first before attacking the queen. Then we will play bishop c4 to target the pawn with 2 pieces. If black plays queen e7 to protect it, then we will play simply knight c4 to go d5 to target the pawn and create some threats. Black responded with queen d7, knight e2. If your opponent is not a Stockfish subscriber and plays knight e7 to exchange the knights, he will think everything is protected and fine, but life is like a book. Some chapters are complicated, some are happy, some are sad, but all are necessary for the full story. There is a discover attack with knight f6 fork. You have to take the knight because your queen is hanging. Queen takes check, king here, queen takes f6 and you are gonna lose the rook. The knight is also pinned to the king, he can't not save the rook. So let's move on to our actual game. I played queen f3 to sacrifice the queen. He played knight c6, bishop c4 to add pressure on this pawn, so knight f6 and I take the knight with my queen. It's a super blunder move. A genius is someone who dares to do what ordinary people fear to do. We have queen takes f6, the knight wants to create pressure to my queen's side, which is why I played knight c3 to give him a quick threat to the queen and pawn, but he centralized his knight first, to give me a knight fork to my king and rook. Playing king d1 will lose my pawn and create a bad position for me, and the knight is creating so many problems for me, so I played bishop d3, defensive move to stable the structure and maintain the position. Magnus played queen g6 to attack on my pawn. Playing g3 will weaken my light squares and he will hit the center with the pawn to activate his light square bishop on this weak side, so I had to play king f1 to protect my army. He continues his plan to strike in the center. Bishop f5 is a threat to use the important diagonal. He no need to play castle. I played h4 because the queen is pressuring to my pawn. I want to deflect the queen with h5, Magnus strikes the center with d5 and I played h5 first, queen d6 b3, the light square bishop blocks the pawn and bishop lines, which is why I want to activate my bishop on this diagonal, and if you take the pawn on e4, then knight takes pawn will arrive with an extra move, queen backs bishop b2 bishop f5 to exchange the knight, so we will play rook e1, after takes. Here if you play 200 elo move, for example a5, then I will capture the knight with bishop, pawn takes bishop f3, the queen is pinned to the king, and you will lose your queen. We have same pawns but he will get a rook for my knight, which means that the game would be a draw or I could win the game. Focus on what you can control, and let go of what you cannot. Magnus knows that he can't control e takes d4 tactic, that's why he focused on to develop his bishop, pawn to pressure me in center. Taking the pawn is not allowed, so e takes d5, he pushed the pawn to target my bishop. If you play bishop c4 then he will play b5, bishop backs then he will win up a free pawn with an extra move, so in this position I played knight e2 to target the d4 knight, pawn takes knight takes d4, d takes c2, and if you try to capture back the pawn with knight, then queen takes d5 will come with a threat, the bishop pair will be unstoppable where the rook will get the open files. Always think before you make a move in life and chess, for thoughtful consideration lays the foundation for success and ensures that each step is purposeful and wise. I played the knight c3 to maintain the position to close, queen takes d5, king g1, knight takes e2 is coming, so we have bishop e7, he want to move his bishop on this diagonal, so bishop b2 bishop f6 rook to e1 check with an extra move, bishop c3 to guard the bishop with the pawn. Rook e8 knight takes pawn and we have rook exchanges in the e1 square, bishop comes out to e6, dark square bishop have a great diagonal, rook is coming to seize the files to attack on my king, so I decided to capture the bishop, otherwise position will be worst for me. I can lose a game where I have no queen, but I can never lose a game by tactical shot. Here I am totally losing the game, but my position is secured by my knights and army, and look at the Magnus position. Even after I sacrificed my queen to him long ago, he hasn't won a pawn. Greatness resides within a person's character, transcending their achievements, while a fool remains regardless of any accomplishments they may attain. So rook g4 with an idea of playing rook d4 to get the file. Magnus backs his queen and he wants to play bishop d5 to get the diagonal, rook g8 to use the file, so king f1, bishop d5, d3, and we have another material exchanges. Queen takes check king here, rook g8 to target the pawn. Here if you play any normal kind of move, for example rook g4, then Magnus will take the knight with queen, game will be over for you. So back to the position, we have rook to f4 to protect the knight. He played rook g4, and now, my rook can't go to anywhere. I has to take the rook, queen d1 check king here, pawn takes, knight h4 only square, and I am totally losing the chess game. This is the first time where I lose to Magnus Carlsen.